are live. Hello, Bill. Karen, welcome. Nice to see you again. Linda Tether. Hello, Jennifer. Australia is in the room. Welcome, everyone. I'm Barbara Tien with Projectkin, and joining me today is Kathy. Oh, sound off. It's a good reminder for me, too.
Told you it was a rough day today.
Oh, we're
Sorry
all
about
going to
that,
be kind of
folks.
a little bit
Technical
off the cuff.
difficulties in Canada today.
All good. Canada just needs a good night's sleep. Oh, look at that. Hello, Aberdeen, or in the beaches beyond Aberdeen. And Larkham has joined us today. Hello, Dr. Mary Marshall. It's good to see you. You know, we do these each Sunday with whatever the highlight is for the week ahead. And of course, Kathy Stone is here for Kathy's Corner this week. And thank you for the hearts. It's always good to have these kind of old home week. And this is the last month, or the last of our meetings for Save Your Photos Month. So you have a special episode planned this week. Is that right, Kathy?
I do. I thought that because Save Your Photos Month I mentioned, but in last month before Kathy's Corner, that it's important to me because when Save Your Photos Month was founded, it was initially founded as Save Your Photos Day by who are now the photo managers. But at that point, we were called the Association of Personal Photo Organizers back in the day. And so at a conference that was held in Dallas, it was right after Hurricane Sandy, and prior to that had been the Joplin tornadoes and the severe flooding we had here in southern Alberta. So I sat on a panel with a gentleman from Thad Beeler from Joplin, and a fellow, Gord, forgotten Gord's last name. He was the founder of and the developer of FlipPal, which is now no longer exists. But he was there because he was lending out FlipPals to help with Hurricane Sandy with finding photos. So they were both dealing with photos that were not only damaged but lost because they blew away. And then myself and a lady named Cindy Browning, who's a photo manager from Calgary, her and I did a lot of work after the flooding here in southern Alberta. And so after the discussion, a lot of the talk was around, okay, this is, we've talked about all these things, but what can we do to get so people don't get in that position? We don't want people to have their photos damaged and lost. So many people lost photos. And it's one of the things most people mention when they're talking about what would you grab if your house caught on fire or if you had to evacuate.
You remember just this spring when we had those terrible fires down in Los Angeles. Yes. Arn Younglis, who is in the LA area, wrote a terrific post, as did Denise Allen, about how to walk around your house with a camera, how to collect your photos, very clear multi-step process. I even printed it out somewhere right here.
Yes.
Because it's important. And thank you, Bill. Still have your FlipPal. Those things are great. I still have my Shopbox.
I still have my FlipPal too, Bill, and I still use it. And it was very handy for that type of work. So at the discussion surrounded, what can we do so people, and we're talking, 12, 13 years ago, digitization wasn't really it's nothing like what it was now. It's a huge difference back then. And so we thought, what could we do as a group to help people get ready and prevent losing everything in natural disasters? And that was the start of Save Your Photos Day. So we actually held one that year, 2014, in the fall, a single day. And myself and Cindy Browning, we had a day here in Calgary with scanners. Kodak Alaris, out of Florida, there was a company who used to sell all their products. They sent us scanners and a technician to help us. And so we had a big day and we did presentations, and that went on all over North America. And so then after that, when we were talking after, we said we need more than a day because up here in Canada, September is when kids go back to school. So it tends to be a crazy time anyway. And one day, if you didn't happen to be able to make it, so that's when it became Save Your Photos Month. Then over the years, as the photo managers have grown And sadly, more disasters have happened. Every year they sponsor Save Your Photos Month, and it is September every year. So when I was looking at that, I thought, well, I don't think I'll be doing any in-person offering scanning since I don't do that anymore. But what could I do? And I thought, you know what? In Kathy's Corner just happens to fall at the end of Save Your Photos Month. So let's talk a little bit about damaged photos, not on that scope, although it doesn't matter if it's one photo or 20,000. It's just a matter of how much long it's going to take you. But let's talk a bit about what we can do with the photos that are damaged that we have in our collection, and if there's things we can do about it. So that's what I want to talk about on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that's what many people may not realize about you. Hey, welcome, Bonnie. Bonnie, nice to see you. And Jennifer, nice to see you pop in. Anne. um, is that you are one of the real experts on the subject. The work that you did on the Joplin floods, I think it was, has made you not only the expert to write that article, but that article has been cited so many times as a reference source. As we all get better and better and scanning gets better, we're all digital. And managing the damaged photos becomes a craft, a forgotten craft of what to expect and how to get around the problem. What do you do when you have a wad of negatives or whatever else it might be? The unexpected surprises as answers goes a
And
long, long
often
way.
we'll find them in our printed photo collections, like the photos themselves or negatives or whatever. We'll often come across a few that it's not that something happened to them and someone stuck them away in a box. And then all of a sudden, as we're working on getting them all digitized, it's time to do something about it. And it's sort of like, and when I first encountered, when I first started doing that, people were volunteering all over because of not only the city of Calgary, but southern Alberta. The flood started in the mountains and came all the way past Calgary and east of Calgary. Many areas have flooded. And so there were a lot of people volunteering to do all sorts of things. A lot of people had to go and just rip out everything out of remove everything from people's houses. Yeah. And I thought, I can't really do that. I have physical limitations. I can't really go and tear drywall out. What could I do? And so I thought I could help people with pictures. So it became a very, very fast learn as you go experience. But over the years, I have encountered more things that, and now fire. At that point, one of my colleagues we talked about a house fire photo she'd got that came from a house fire and talked through what to do about that. But now with the forest fires, if people had stuff that got out, the chances of having smoke damage are pretty strong. And so what can you do about that? Or when you open that box up that was in Grandpa's basement for a really long time and it's got a really bad smell. I want to talk a bit about that because there's safety aspects in this part too, which is a big thing for me, is to make sure people are aware of, what what precautions you might need to take. And I'm going to talk about that because that's one of the things I think I talked first in the article, because I saw things during different natural disasters of people cleaning photos in a library, for example. And I'm like, and they were flood photos and most likely had mold. And like, no, don't take mold into the library. Dangerous things. So it's something that you don't necessarily think about, because the mold in photos it's not green-free stuff like the teas in the fridge. It just doesn't look the same. So we'll talk about that, and we'll look at a few pictures.
That'll be
I
great.
won't
And
make it
it'll be
a
great to
whole
have
slideshow.
the FAQ. In fact, you're going to toss me the link to that article about the
I will.
flooding to include in the notes here. I do always like to make sure that I've got notes. And in fact, all of you, if you have questions in there, to drop for me,
Yes.
to include resources in the notes, I always will. And remember that the chat doesn't go into the notes, but I can put answers in there for
put
you.
in the chat now, because Barbara will keep track of it. If there's some kind of damaged photos you have, just say what's a brief thing of what's wrong with it. I've got things like water damage, the ever popular sticky magnetic albums,
I
some
have
tips
one. I
for
have one.
that. Barbara has a bunch. Photos stuck to glass. That's one that's fairly common.
There's one right there.
Yeah. What else did I have here?
Water damage to negatives,
Yes.
to
Corn.
slides.
Yeah.
Corn?
Photos with hairs in them.
Wait,
Um,
corn?
Torn.
Did you say?
No, I said torn.
Oh, torn.
Torn.
Sorry. I was going from all words that rhyme with corn, and I ran into some trouble there. The fun we have, the fun we
Yes. So
have.
if you've got some damaged photos, pop in the chat and then or come on Thursday and we'll make sure we give you some advice on that. So that's kind of in the nutshell, what I'm looking forward to doing on Thursday. So.
Yeah, and thank you. Anne points out it is such an important topic with both the care for the photos, but also the safety aspects, and both health and safety and safety to other objects like mold on books in a library or whatever. I was amazed at the stories from the fires in Los Angeles this last
Mhm.
round, where the topic came up of people who had lost not only the hard copies of the photo collection, but also hard drives and computers and so on.
Yes.
And what was interesting about that is how they were reaching out to cousins and friends who might have other copies of the same photos. I thought that was
Mhm.
really touching. I don't know. AI gives us new ways to be able to, pull things together. I can go and say, do I have any more pictures of this person, for example,
Mhm.
by leveraging facial recognition in my photo collection. But we're getting more sophisticated as the kind of the
And it
problem
also
changes.
reminds us of the old 3-2-1 backup that you have three
Offsite
copies, two of them, I've forgotten what they are now. Three copies, but two of them on different things. Like you don't
media,
keep three copies on your computer. And the one part is one of them is off site, be that in the cloud or at
right?
somebody else's house.
Yeah,
Because fire, if you've got your two backup copies on two externals and they're both in your house, and someone at your house, heaven forbid, catches on fire, or you have to evacuate, trying to remember to grab everything. Or if somebody breaks into your house and takes your computer and your hard drives, you're kind of lost. So that's
yeah.
the off-site, and to me the cloud works perfectly well because you can keep it up to date easier. But if you don't like that idea, put it on another drive, put it in your safety deposit box, take it to a friend's house, but have it
And
somewhere else.
And as I have been counseled and have finally complied with, is that even if you do very religiously keep all of your photos in a stored cloud based archive, good for you. But where else are you keeping it? Because that's nice. And these days, you can probably trust your cloud suppliers to be doing their own backups of backups of backups. But what are you doing for your copies of it? Because there may be reasons why errors in administration can decide that you no longer have access to that thing, that you aren't who you said you are. And all hell breaks loose and the photos are lost.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
expect that
Welcome.
is be responsible for
Be
it's
responsible.
up to you to you make sure you look after your photos and aren't trusting another program or someone else to look after them for you. Make sure
Yeah,
you're the one
actually,
who knows where they are.
that's almost a 3-2-1 all by itself. The
Mhm.
3-2-1 is the same photo in three places with two different media, two different places. The 3-2-1 of you, in a sense, I'm a big believer in password managers. I resisted it fiercely at first, but I'm all in now. I personally use things like Backblaze and OnePass to keep me straight. And though some members of my family just can't really get into it, that's fine. Others do. So
Yeah.
my identities, I know there's one daughter in particular, but my two daughters, between the two of them, sort out my identities and could always get something if I wasn't here. Because That's the whole nature of redundancies. And, we are always walking through all of these things. And at the end of the day, as much as we talk about all of these things so that I can get my stuff back, the truth is, certainly as we look at family history, a lot of what we're doing is actually for descendants we may never know. A lot of what I do is dependent on some incredible work that my grandmother did in genealogy, but I never I never met her, at least not in a memory,
Mhm.
probably did as an infant. And so therefore all of the work that we do in terms of putting context around things to make sure that they can be understood so that
Mhm.
stories are carried forward take on new meaning. And then of course all the redundancies of the genealogy work and family story work that we do becomes important too, right?
Yeah.
um, you
And
know
keeping that stuff too. Like again, I'm the photo organizer. I talk a lot, and I use the word photo as an all-encompassing term, but it's important to keep all the documentation too that is important, which again is back to digitizing and everything else, and then saving your digitization. But um, that was the one sad part: is a lot of paper that people had saved in the form of memorabilia was lost. We managed to peel some pages of things apart and scan them. I'm not even talking books. I'm talking like documents, but that was something that
letters.
doesn't like being wet.
Yeah.
Photos, surprisingly, unless they're really bad, photos actually tolerate, especially old ones that are from the developing process, because it was a wet process. Photos
Yep.
actually, they look terrible, but they actually survive better than almost anything else does. Like the more modern thing, inkjet prints did not survive. Wash you had the
Ink
piece of
right
paper
off.
it was printed on, the ink was just gone. But but documents and things, that's where, and I'm guilty of it too, is that's sort of the last thing sitting around. Like I said, I'm bragging because all my negatives are digitized, but the last thing still is box loads of memorabilia from long time ago and from all up till, stuff from last week that's all got to get done at some point. So,
It's a reminder of the power of taking photographs of memorabilia, photographs of
yes.
objects
And
to,
that's much easier. Yeah.
much easier. Who was it?
Well, and
In
even
a
for insurance purposes, it's if you've got photographs of some of the, you've got your grandmother's antique desk there. Um, it's not like you're going to look it up on a furniture website and see it there in order to
oh
tell
right,
the insurance company what it looked like. Like you need a photo of it for those
yeah,
purposes of documentation. So
yeah, yeah. Actually,
serves
my
more than one purpose.
wonderful cousin sent it to me. Was my grandmother's, and I actually my cousin also found some photographs of my grandmother's bedroom when she was probably about 17 or 18 and probably about 1914, something like that. And the desk isn't there, which is interesting. I have an idea as to how she got the desk, and I do a show and tell, but you can't really get it from that angle, and we won't go there for now.
That's another Sunday
you know,
talk.
Another Sunday talk that I have a pretty good sense that that was a photograph of her room in Abilene, Kansas, which is, I know, where she grew up. And I know that she and her future husband both went to University of Kansas in Lawrence, Kansas, which is, I guess, an hour or so, probably then 2 hours drive. So my guess is it was probably he was he was the photographer and it's a very good photograph, indoor photograph in, again, like 1914,
Hmm.
1912. They were engaged, married in 1914, engaged 1912. Because I have a photo of them. That's their engagement picture. That's her wedding picture. um, and, it makes you really stop and think about place and how a
Hmm.
place plays a role in a
Yes.
family story. And I'm only, yeah, I see, I saw those hearts. Thank you. I'm only slightly weaving that into the conversation because, yeah, I know they are unusual, and it's actually for a photographer, it was I think a challenge, especially back then, to take a picture of the indoors because the light without, a big array of lights, a lot more difficult thing than with all the kinds of lenses and cameras that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pretty amazing. I have a color photo of a dining room, and I just don't know where that dining room is. But I'm working up a story about place because, as it happens, since I like to do a summary of the week, this week on Wednesday starts that's right. Place is the setting. It's where we are in the story. Great example, Mama Carol. Thank you. This week is all about that place. It is a 10-day celebration of one place studies that is organized by the Society of Genealogists in the UK, the Society for One Place Studies, and the British Association of Local History, or is it historians? I'll have to check. And they have done this. I think it started as the 10-year anniversary for the Society for One Place Studies, and then it just kind of compounded. They've been doing it several years since this year is a little bit of a mini event because everybody's busy. And so, but I'm thrilled to participate as Projectkin. Originally, we were saying, hey, what about us on the other side of the planet? You do this big deal about it being a 12-hour thing that starts at midnight for us. Come on, man. So, anyway, we will be doing things with speakers, including, and are we in here? Let me see. You could check the schedule and the speeches and the talks from last year at projectkin.org/AATP25. So basically, that's my cubbyhole for all of the recordings, and the live programs will be just like this, short and easy, brief conversations either at our Atlantic time or our Pacific time. And in fact, since I'm on a roll here, Kathy, thanks for your patience.
Carry on.
Um, I put out a note a post a few weeks ago about how starting on, thank you, Anne. I wasn't sure. Sometimes, too many details flying around. Um, Starting on September 28th in New Zealand is when they jump forward to summertime as we fall back to standard time, but we don't do that until November. So there is a 6-week period of time where the world is all confused because, New Zealand and Australia can't do it at the same time. The North America, Canada, United States, we do agree on this one, thankfully. But the UK, of course, and the North America don't agree on the same time zone changes. So I put together this is the secret decoder weapon, an infographic, we'll call it that, for where everybody is changing times so we can keep up with it. The key thing to know is that it all starts, good morning, New Zealand. Nice to see you. Thank you, Jane. It all starts on September 28th, which is next Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it starts. And then we have Australia changes, the UK changes, and North America, United States, and Canada changes last. I don't believe Mexico changes at all. So good for them. But
Smart
they're
people.
smart people. So we keep it all straight, and I'm using the excuse of that changeover to say, you know what, I can't keep up with so many different times either. So I can only keep up with 2. That's why I talk about Atlantic and Pacific. And so Kathy's Corner, starting in October, will be at the Pacific time, not Pacific in Mountain Time, which is what it has been. And the Sunday, the week of Kathy's Corner, the Substack Live will be in the Atlantic time zone, right? So all of you, I see you, Anne Larkham. We'll look out for you in Scotland and make sure that it starts at a time that's a little more convenient for you. None of this midnight stuff for you. And anyway, we're just trying to, you know, figure it out. Take our steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any of those questions that you want to see if you can stump Kathy? And actually, here's a tip. You can't stump Kathy. But if you have some things that you've been dying to know about untangling your photos, drop them into the notes now and give Kathy the benefit of a couple of days to look it up. All right, then. We'll let that go. Welcome, Lucretia. Starting on Wednesday, Pacific time, that is, I do hope you can join us for this All About That Place series. The times for each of those will vary, jumping back and forth between Pacific and Atlantic time, trying to make sure that we can just defer to the convenience of our of my guests to make sure that it's at a time that works for you. Within North America, it's not that hard to catch either side, and that's kind of the fundamental idea to it. And to get the schedule, I have set up a little shortcut that I was just shared with Kathy, so maybe it'll be helpful to you as it is to me. I frequently forget when something is, so I run over to projectkin.org/events to see what time something starts, and then I go to the monthly calendar and I expand it. Maybe you do that too. So I created a shortcut that maybe will be useful to you as well. projectkin.org/monthly, and then you get the whole monthly calendar and skip all of the rest of it. If you ever have something that you check often and want me to create a little shortcut for you, just whisper it to me and I'll be happy to. Easy peasy. That's through the magic of called an internet redirect. And always happy to explain how I do those things. And in fact, I'm always happy to explain everything.
Of that. I said Barbara's the master of that internet redirect thing.
Truth is, once you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Uh-oh. I hear that we are losing Kathy's voice. So I think we wrap it up from here and save it all up for Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And unless somebody just asked you a complicated question, I missed that. Nope. You're off the hook. Made you look. All righty then. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's always fun to see you, and appreciate more than you can know how getting all of this together puts it all together. Helps. Honestly, it helps us build a little community here. Thank you for all that love, all of you. Really, it's very sweet, and I think
hope to see you Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bill. Bye now. And I'll
Bye-bye.
get notes out with, I don't know, useful stuff, I hope. I'll think of something. All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.